The last time I held my daughter's hand, she was crying over her mother's casket, whispering, "Don't let go, Daddy, never let go." Today, 15 years later, the bank called about her Nashville home, the one I bought with my wife's dying breath and her life insurance. They said someone gambled it away. When I tried to save her, she looked at me with her mother's eyes, but they were cold as winter stone. "You're not my father," she said. "My father died with Mom. You're just a ghost who won't stop haunting me, trying to control me from Milwaukee with your guilt and your grief." The morning Wisconsin sun barely pierced through Milwaukee's November clouds when the phone rang. Heritage National Bank, a Nashville number that made my coffee turn to ice in my throat. "Mr. Thorne? Brennick Thorne?" The woman's voice was hesitant, careful. "Speaking." "I'm calling about the property at 1892 Magnolia Bend in Nashville. There's been unusual activity that concerns us." My coffee mug stopped halfway to my lips. That was Kaylin's address, my daughter's dream home in Music City, the one I'd co-signed for with Rosemary's life insurance money. "What kind of activity?" "Sir, I shouldn't be telling you this, but your name is on the original mortgage. Someone has taken out multiple loans against the property, $93,000 in just the last 11 months. The creditors are all online gambling establishments." My mug slipped from my hand, shattering on the kitchen floor Rosemary had picked out 22 years ago. 93,000. My baby girl's home. Rosie's final gift. "That's impossible," I whispered, though my heart already knew the truth. "I thought you should know, Mr. Thorne, given what that house represents. We all remember when you came in with the life insurance check, how you said it was your wife's last wish." "I'm sorry." The line went dead. I stood there, surrounded by ceramic shards and spreading coffee, thinking about the double shifts I'd worked at the Milwaukee Steel Foundry, the 16-hour days that turned my hands into leather and my back into a question mark, the Christmas mornings when I wasn't there because overtime paid triple. But mostly, I thought about Rosemary's last words in the hospice. "Brennick, promise me. Use every penny to give Kaylin her dreams. Let my death mean she gets to live fully." My laptop confirmed my worst fears within minutes. Public records showed loan after loan, all in Draven Wolf's name, my son-in-law, the music producer, who always had big deals coming but never any actual income. I was on a plane to Nashville by noon. No warning call to Kaylin. She worked from her home studio on Wednesdays, teaching virtual piano lessons to kids who'd never know their teacher's house was bleeding money through a screen. The flight from Milwaukee to Nashville took 2 hours. I counted every minute, remembering when 8-year-old Kaylin would count down to Christmas, to her birthday, to Mommy coming home from chemo. Now I was counting down to the moment I'd shatter her world. I knocked on her door at 3:17 p.m. The brass numbers, 1892, that Rosemary had picked from a catalog, saying they looked like music notes. Kaylin answered wearing one of her mother's old cardigans, and for a second I saw Rosie, 30 years old, healthy, laughing. Then reality crashed back. "Dad?" Her face went from surprise to joy to concern in 3 heartbeats. "What are you doing here? Is everything okay?" "We need to talk about Draven's gambling." The transformation was instant and terrible. Every ounce of warmth drained from her face. "What are you talking about?" I showed her everything. Bank statements I'd printed at the airport, loan documents I'd downloaded, credit reports that told a story of systematic destruction. Her face went white, then red, then something worse, contemptuous. "You made these." She threw the papers back at me like they were poisoned. "You've always hated Draven. Now you're inventing lies to break us apart." "Kaylin, sweetheart." "Don't you dare!" She stepped back, her voice rising to a pitch I'd never heard. "Don't you dare call me that! You come to my home, Mom's home, with these fabrications? He's borrowed $93,000 against your house, against your mother's sacrifice." Her face crumpled at Rosemary's mention, then hardened into something I didn't recognize. "Get out." Her voice was deadly quiet. Get out right now, or I swear to God, I'll call the police. I'll tell them you're harassing us, stalking us. Kaylin, your mother would want. My mother is dead, and you're dead to me too. Get out! The door slammed with the finality of a coffin lid. Through the wood, I heard her sobbing, then talking to Draven, no doubt, warning him about her delusional father-in-law. I stood on that porch where Rosemary and I had once imagined grandchildren playing, where we dreamed of Sunday dinners and birthday parties. Now I stood there as a stranger, an enemy, a ghost she wanted exorcised. The Uber back to the airport was silent. The flight home to Milwaukee was worse. Every mile took me further from my daughter and closer to a decision I never wanted to make. Save the house and lose Kaylin forever, or watch everything Rosemary died for disappear into online poker sites. By the time I landed in Milwaukee, I'd made my choice. If Kaylin wanted me dead to her, then I'd be dead to her too. But I'd save her mother's sacrifice, even if it meant sacrificing the last of our relationship. If you're watching this, and you've ever had your child declare you dead to them while they're still breathing, please hit subscribe. Your support helps other parents know they're not alone in choosing their child's future over their child's love.
Draven stood at my door at 2 a.m., drunk and crying. "You want to know the truth about your wife?" he slurred. "Rosemary knew she was dying 6 months before she told you. She hid it to save money on treatment. Every day she didn't tell you was another $1,000 for Kaylor's house. Your wife killed herself slowly, Brennick, and I'm the only one who knows why." The pounding on my Milwaukee door started at 2:03 a.m. I know because I was awake, staring at Rosemary's photo on my nightstand, replaying Kaylin's words. "You're dead to me." Through the peephole, Draven looked destroyed, not angry, but broken. His Tesla sat crooked in my driveway, a car worth more than I'd made in 2 years at the foundry. "Open up, Rennick, please." His voice was thick with alcohol and something else. Grief? I opened the door but kept the chain on. Bourbon fumes wafted through the gap. Expensive bourbon, the kind Rosemary used to joke only rich people could afford to waste. "What do you want, Draven?" "To tell you the truth, the whole truth about Rosie." My blood froze. "Don't you dare speak her name. She called me 6 months before she died. I have the voicemails. She knew about the cancer 3 months before she told you. She hid it to save money." "You're lying." "Listen." He held the phone to the gap. Rosemary's voice, weak but clear, filled the space between us. "Draven, it's Rosie, Kaylin's mom. I need someone to know the truth in case Brennick finds out. I've had cancer for 3 months. If I start treatment now, it'll cost everything. The house, the savings, Kaylin's college fund. If I wait, if I let it progress, the life insurance pays out more. $200,000 if I die within a year. Only $50,000 if I live longer with treatment. I'm choosing the money. I'm choosing Kaylin's future. Please, if something happens, make sure that money becomes something beautiful." My knees buckled. I had to grab the doorframe. "She made me promise," Draven continued, tears streaming down his face. "Made me swear to turn that blood money into millions. Every bet I place, Brennick, I see her face. I hear her saying, 'Make my death worth something.' Do you understand what that pressure feels like? You're destroying what she died for. I'm trying to multiply it." He slammed his palm against the door. "She didn't just die, Brennick. She chose to die faster. She murdered herself in slow motion for that insurance money. And you never knew. You never suspected. What kind of husband doesn't notice his wife hiding cancer for 3 months? The cruelty of it knocked the breath from me.
That's why Kaylin won't listen to you, because deep down, she knows you failed Rosie. You were so busy working double shifts, you didn't see your wife was dying right in front of you? He stumbled back to his car. I'm not the villain here. I'm just the guy trying to honor a dead woman's impossible request. You're the one who let her die alone in her secret. After he left, I went to my computer, logged into Rosemaria's old email. The password was still our anniversary, 051997. There they were. Doctor's appointments I never knew about. Test results from 3 months before her sudden diagnosis. Research on life insurance policies and payout schedules. A draft email to me she never sent. My dearest Brennick, by the time you read this, if you ever do, I'll be gone. Please forgive me for lying. Every morning I didn't tell you about the cancer was another morning you went to work happy, another day of treatment money saved, another dollar for Kaylin's future. I'm not brave. I'm just a mother who loves her daughter more than her own life. Please don't hate me for choosing her over us. Forever yours, Rosie. I sat in my dark kitchen, in the house where Rosemarie had hidden her death sentence, and felt my entire understanding of our marriage crumble. My phone rang. Kaylin. Dad? She was crying. Draven came home drunk. He's talking crazy, saying Mom killed herself for money. Tell me that's not true. Please, Daddy, tell me that's not true. The word Daddy. She hadn't called me that since the funeral. Kaylin. Oh, God. It is true. You knew? No, I just found out tonight. Just now. She lied to us? Mom lied about dying? She lied about when? She thought she was protecting us. From what? From having more time with her? From saying goodbye properly? Her voice broke completely. Draven's been gambling because he thinks he owes it to Mom to make millions from her death money. He's sick, Dad, and Mom made him sick with her dying wish. Where is he now? Passed out. Dad, I found more loans. Not just 93,000. It's closer to 150. We're going to lose everything. Come home. Pack a bag and come to Milwaukee. I can't leave him. He's suicidal. He keeps saying he's failing Mom, that he should join her if he can't make her sacrifice worth it. Kaylin, I have to go. He's waking up. Dad, I'm sorry for what I said earlier. You're not dead to me. You're the only real thing I have left. The line went dead. I sat in my kitchen, in the house where Rosemarie had hidden her death sentence, and felt my entire understanding of our marriage crumble. My choice still unmade: save the house through legal action, or let it all burn and hope something could be rebuilt from the ashes. If you're still watching after learning that love and lies can be the same thing, please like and share. Someone needs to know that family secrets can destroy from beyond the grave.
The lawyer set down her pen and looked at me with eyes that had seen too much pain. Mr. Thorne, I need you to understand something. Your wife committed insurance fraud by hiding her diagnosis. If this comes out in court, they could void the entire policy retroactively. You could owe back every penny plus interest. Still want to proceed? I looked at Rosemarie's photo and whispered, yes. Helena Marsh's law office occupied the top floor of Milwaukee's Third Ward Financial Building, with views of Lake Michigan stretching endlessly gray, the same color as my mood. This is more complicated than a simple partition action, she said, spreading my documents across her glass desk. Your wife's deception, while motivated by love, constitutes insurance fraud. She was dying. She chose to die faster. How is that fraud? She hid a diagnosis to manipulate payout timing. Insurance companies have sued estates for less. Helena pulled off her glasses. If Draven's lawyer discovers this, and they will, they could argue the entire down payment was fraudulent. The house, the equity, everything could be clawed back. So I should just let him gamble it away? I'm saying you should understand the nuclear option you're considering. This could destroy more than your relationship with your daughter. It could destroy your wife's final gift entirely. I pulled out my phone, showed her screenshots I'd taken. Draven's gambling losses in the last week alone, $18,000. At this rate, the house will be gone in 3 months anyway, I said. Helena studied the screenshots, then me. There's another way, less aggressive but still protective. What? Forensic accounting. We hire someone to trace every dollar, build a case for financial abuse. It's slower, but doesn't require revealing your wife's fraud. How long? 6 months, maybe 8. The house will be gone by then. Not if we file an emergency injunction based on financial exploitation. We argue Draven is taking advantage of Kaylin's grief. She pulled up a legal database. Wisconsin has strong financial abuse laws. We could freeze all accounts, prevent further borrowing. Without revealing Rosemary's deception, we focus on his current actions, not the source of the original funds. That afternoon, I met with Marcus Chen, the forensic accountant Helena recommended. His office was sterile, all white walls and black furniture, like a crime scene waiting to happen. Based on these records, Marcus said after 2 hours of analysis, your son-in-law isn't just gambling, he's churning. Churning? Borrowing from one source to pay another, creating a paper trail that looks like investment activity. It's sophisticated. He's not just an addict, he's a criminal. Can you prove it? Give me 2 weeks, I'll have everything you need. That evening, I drove to Rosemary's grave in Holy Cross Cemetery. The headstone was simple, Rosemary Ann Thorne, beloved wife and mother, her love lives forever. You lied to me, Rosie. For love, but still, you lied, and now your lie is destroying our daughter. The wind picked up, scattering leaves across the grave. For a moment, I could almost hear her voice. I'd do it again, Brennick. 1,000 times I'd do it again. My phone rang. Kaylin. Dad, I need help. Her voice was small, scared. Draven's gone. He left a note saying he's going to fix everything or die trying. I think he's going to Vegas. Call the police. I can't. He took all our credit cards, checkbooks, even my grandmother's jewelry. If I call the police, he'll be arrested for theft. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Dad, please, just come. I need you here. I'll catch the next flight. 4 hours later, I stood again at 1892 Magnolia Bend. Kayleen opened the door before I could knock. She looked like she'd aged 5 years in 3 days. Hollow eyes, trembling hands, her mother's cardigan hanging loose on her shrinking frame. Dad, I'm so scared. Inside, the house was chaos. Papers everywhere, empty wine bottles, a laptop showing Draven's gambling account, negative $47,000. How is it negative? They owe them, Kaylin whispered. They're calling every hour, threatening things. Pack a bag. You're coming to Milwaukee. I can't leave. This is Mom's house. Your mother would want you safe. My mother would want a lot of things. She pulled away, anger flashing. She'd want her to be alive. She'd want her death to mean something. She'd want Draven to turn her sacrifice into millions like he promised her. She had no right to ask that of him. She had no right to die faster without telling us either, but she did. We're all trapped by her choice, Dad. You, me, Draven, we're all prisoners of Mom's sacrifice. My phone buzzed. Text from Helena. Injunction filed. Emergency hearing tomorrow 2 p.m. Can you be there? I showed Kaylin the text. We can stop this. Freeze everything. Get Draven help. Or drive him over the edge completely. He's already over the edge. She looked around the house, at the photos of happier times, the piano where she taught virtual lessons, the kitchen where Rosemary had planned to bake cookies for grandchildren who might never exist. "File it," she said finally. "File everything. Save what's left of Mom's gift, even if it costs me my marriage." "Kaylin, I know what you're going to say, that I deserve better, that Draven's sick, that Mom would want me happy. But you know what? Mom's wants stopped mattering the day she chose death over time. Now we're all just trying to survive her sacrifice. If you're wrestling with saving someone who doesn't want to be saved, please subscribe and share. Your support helps other families navigate the aftermath of love's most terrible choices."
The process server found Draven at the Vegas poker table, where he'd been playing for 37 straight hours. When they handed him the papers, he stood up, looked at the dealer, and said, "Tell my wife I'm sorry. Tell her mother I failed." Then he walked to the parking garage. The security footage showed him standing on the edge of the 7th floor for 3 hours before someone talked him down. The call came at 4 a.m. Nashville time, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police. "Is this Kaylin Wolfe?" I was sleeping in the guest room, having stayed after filing the injunction. I heard her phone through the thin walls. "Yes?" "Ma'am, your husband is in psychiatric hold at Desert Springs Hospital. He was served legal papers at the Bellagio, then attempted... He's safe now, but you're listed as his emergency contact." Kaylin's scream brought me running. She was on her knees in the hallway, phone still pressed to her ear. Is he alive?" "Yes, ma'am. Under 72-hour hold, he's asking for you." She looked up at me, her face destroyed. "The papers, Dad, the injunction, it almost killed him. His addiction almost killed him." "No," she stood, shaking. "We did this. You and me and Mom's ghost. We drove him to that edge." She booked a flight to Vegas for that afternoon. I tried to stop her. "Kaylin, you can't. He's my husband. Whatever he's become, whatever Mom's death made him, he's still my husband. I'm coming with you." "No, you've done enough." The words stung, but I understood. We'd saved the house, but may have lost something more valuable. While Kaylin flew to Vegas, I met with Helena for the emergency hearing. The judge, Harold Brennan, reviewed the forensic accounting report with growing alarm. "Mr. Thorne, these numbers show systematic financial destruction. Your son-in-law borrowed against the same property 17 times through different instruments." "Yes, Your Honor." "The injunction is granted, all accounts frozen, and no further borrowing against the Nashville property." He looked over his glasses at me. "Your daughter agrees to this?" "She's with her husband in Las Vegas. He's in psychiatric hold after being served." Judge Brennan's expression softened. "Gambling addiction destroys families, Mr. Thorne, but sometimes hitting bottom is the only way up." That evening, Kaylin called from Vegas. "He's sedated," she said, her voice hollow. "But before they put him under, he told me everything. Not just the gambling, the debts to dangerous people, the threats if he doesn't pay." "How much?" $200,000, some to legitimate casinos, but $50,000 to people who break legs." "Kaylin, you need to leave." "I can't leave him, Dad. When Mom was dying, she made me promise to take care of the people I love, even when it hurts." "Your mother didn't know." "Didn't she? She knew Draven had an addictive personality. She knew what pressure does to weak people. She gave a gambling addict dying woman's money and told him to multiply it. It's like giving a pyromaniac gasoline and matches." 3 days later, Draven was released. Kaylin brought him back to Nashville, to a house now protected by legal injunction, but haunted by worse things than debt. I was waiting when they arrived. Draven looked like a corpse, 30 pounds lighter, eyes vacant and hands constantly shaking. "Brennick, I need to tell you something." "You don't need to." "Yes, I do." He pulled out a letter, handed it to me with trembling fingers. "This is my confession. Everything. The gambling, the debts, the lies, but also this. Rosie knew I gambled. Before she died, she knew and still gave me that responsibility." I read the letter. In shaky handwriting, Draven had detailed not just his addiction, but Rosemary's complicity. "He found my Gamblers Anonymous chip in Kaylin's jewelry box. I was 3 months clean. She said gambling was just risk-taking, and life was all about risks. She said her cancer was a gamble she lost, but the insurance was a bet she could win. She made me promise to take her death money and make it grow. Said a real man would turn $200K into millions." I relapsed that night. Placed my first bet in months with tears in my eyes, thinking I was honoring a dying woman's wish. "She knew?" I asked, though I already believed it. "She knew everything, and she used it, used my weakness as her weapon to force multiplication of her sacrifice." Kaylin was crying silently. "Mom manipulated everyone, even from her deathbed." "She was desperate," I said, but the defense sounded weak. "She was selfish." Kaylin's voice turned hard. "She chose money over time, chose lies over truth, chose to weaponize a sick man's addiction, and we're all paying for it." The next week, the house went into foreclosure proceedings despite the injunction. The accumulated debts were massive, the damage too complete. "We can fight it," Helena said. "The injunction gives us leverage." "No," Kaylin interrupted. "Let it go. Let it all go. Mom's house, Mom's money, Mom's toxic legacy. I want to be free." If you're still watching, if you understand that sometimes love becomes poison, please share this story. Someone needs to know that even the best intentions can destroy everything they touch.
Hook. The man at my door had a photo of Kaylin with a red X across her face. "Your son-in-law owes us $50,000, he said calmly. "He can't pay. You sued him, froze his accounts, so now it's your debt. You have 1 week, or your daughter pays in ways that don't involve money." That's when I knew I had to disappear and take Kaylin with me, whether she wanted to come or not. The man was professional. Suit, tie, calm demeanor. Nothing about him screamed danger except his eyes, which were dead as winter stones. "Mr. Thorne, I represent certain interests in Las Vegas. Your son-in-law made promises he can't keep." "That's not my—" "You made it your problem when you froze his assets." He handed me the photo of Kaylin. Beautiful daughter. Piano teacher, right? Lots of students who'd miss her if she disappeared. "Are you threatening—" "I'm explaining consequences. $50,000. 1 week, or we collect differently." After he left, I called Kaylin immediately. "Pack everything, important, now." "Dad, what?" "Men came here, Vegas men, about Draven's debts. You're in danger." "I'm not leaving him." "Kaylin, they have your photo. They know where you work, where you shop. This isn't about Draven anymore." 2 hours later, I picked them both up in a rental car. Draven was barely functional, shaking from withdrawal and fear. Kaylin had 2 suitcases and her mother's jewelry box. "Where are we going?" "Montana. I have an old Army buddy with a cabin near Glacier National Park. Off the grid, no connections to any of us." "Dad, we can't just disappear." "Yes, we can. We disappear, let the house foreclose, let the debts default. In 6 months, it's all history. And the men from Vegas? We'll move on to easier targets." The drive from Nashville to Montana took 32 hours. We switched rental cars twice, paid cash for everything, turned off all cell phones. By the time we reached Jake's cabin outside Whitefish, we were different people. Scared, exhausted, but alive. The cabin was perfect isolation. No internet, no cell service, nearest neighbor 5 miles away.
Jake, my army buddy from Desert Storm, asked no questions, just handed me the keys. How long you need it? 6 months, maybe more. It's yours. Stay safe, brother. For 2 weeks, we existed in suspended animation. Kaylin taught Draven to chop wood. I taught them both to fish. We had no TV, no phones, no connection to the world we'd fled. Then Draven started getting better. Without access to gambling, with nothing but mountains and sky, he began returning to himself. I haven't felt this clear in years, he said one evening, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. Like I'm waking up from a nightmare. The nightmare's not over, Kaylin reminded him. We're hiding from people who want to hurt us because of your debts. Our debts, he corrected. I created them, but we're all paying. On the 3rd week, I drove to Kalispell for supplies and checked email at the library. Helena had sent updates. House sold at foreclosure auction, $380,000. After all debts and liens, roughly $20,000 remains. It's sitting in escrow awaiting your instructions. $20,000 from Rosemarie's $200,000 sacrifice, a 90% loss on a dying woman's gamble. There was another email from an address I didn't recognize. Mr. Thorne, we know you're in Montana. We know about the cabin. You have 3 days to return with our money or we come to you. The debt has grown to $75,000 with interest. My blood went cold. How did they find us? I raced back to the cabin. We need to leave, now. Dad, what? They found us. Pack everything. But as we packed, Draven did something unexpected. He pulled out a phone I didn't know he had. I've been in contact with the FBI, recording everything, the threats, the loan sharks, the illegal gambling operations. I've been building a case. You've had a phone this whole time? Agent Martinez gave it to me in the hospital. Said if I helped them build a RICO case against the Vegas operation, they'd protect us and possibly reduce my charges for the financial fraud. You're working with the FBI? Kaylin stared at him in shock. For 3 weeks. Every threat, every contact, I've documented. They're building a case that could take down the entire network. And you didn't tell us? I couldn't. They said absolute secrecy or no protection. Within hours, FBI agents arrived at the cabin. We were relocated to a safe house in Billings while the operation proceeded. Agent Martinez explained, Mr. Wolf's cooperation has given us enough to arrest 17 individuals across 3 states. The threats against your family were the final pieces we needed. So we're safe. Once they're in custody, yes. But Mr. Wolf still faces charges for the financial fraud. What kind of charges? With his cooperation, probably probation and restitution. Without it, he was looking at 5 to 10 years. Sometimes, rock bottom becomes a foundation for rebuilding. If you're still watching, please subscribe and share. Someone needs to know that even in the darkest places, redemption is possible.
The prosecutor stood up in court and said, Your Honor, we've discovered something extraordinary. Rosemary Thorne didn't die of cancer. She was murdered by her doctor for the insurance money, and the victim's husband and daughter have been destroying each other over blood money they never should have received. The courtroom erupted. Kaylin fainted, and I finally understood why Rosie had really hidden her diagnosis. The federal courthouse in Milwaukee was packed for what should have been a simple fraud case against Draven, but Prosecutor Jennifer Walsh's opening statement changed everything. Your Honor, during our investigation into Mr. Wolf's gambling debts, we uncovered something far more sinister. Dr. Martin Reichert, Rosemary Thorne's oncologist, deliberately mismanaged her treatment to accelerate her death. The courtroom erupted. Kaylin gripped my hand so tight I thought bones would break. Judge Patricia Hoffman banged her gavel. Order! Prosecutor, these are serious allegations. We have proof, Your Honor. Email exchanges between Dr. Reichert and an insurance broker named Thomas Crenshaw. They identified terminal patients with large policies and manipulated treatment to ensure death within optimal payout windows. That's impossible, I stood up shaking. Rosie hid her diagnosis to save money. No, Mr. Thorne. Walsh turned to me with sympathy. Your wife hid her diagnosis because Dr. Reichert told her to. He convinced her that early treatment would bankrupt your family, that waiting would ensure a larger payout. He was getting kickbacks from Crenshaw, 10% of every policy that paid out. Kaylin fainted. Paramedics rushed in while the judge called a recess. In the hallway, Agent Martinez showed me the evidence. Emails, financial records, recordings of Reichard discussing his terminal profit protocol. "Your wife was murdered," he said simply, "not with a gun, but with deliberate medical malpractice." But her letter to Draven, written under the influence of Reichard, he coached terminal patients on what to say to ensure families wouldn't question the accelerated decline. When court resumed, Kaylin was conscious but ghostly pale. Draven sat beside her, holding her hand. "Your Honor," Walsh continued, "in light of these revelations, the government moves to dismiss all charges against Draven Wolf. He was manipulated by a dying woman who was herself being manipulated by a murderous doctor." "What about the gambling debts?" Judge Hoffman asked. "The Vegas crime syndicate Mr. Wolf helped us prosecute has been dismantled. 17 arrests, including the men who threatened the Thorne family. As for the house foreclosure, we're requesting the insurance company return the full original payout plus damages, given it was obtained through medical murder." The judge looked at our family, broken, exhausted, betrayed. "Mr. Wolf, please stand." Draven stood on shaking legs. "The charges against you are dismissed. However, I'm ordering mandatory gambling addiction treatment for 2 years. Yes, Your Honor." "Mr. Thorne, Mrs. Wolf, the court extends its deepest sympathies. Your wife and mother was murdered by someone she trusted to save her. The state will ensure you receive full restitution." Outside the courthouse, we stood in the Milwaukee spring air, trying to process what had happened. "Mom was murdered," Kaylin said, the words foreign in her mouth. "She died thinking she was sacrificing herself for us, but she was just being sacrificed," I added. Draven spoke quietly. "Every bet I placed, I thought I was honoring her wish, but I was just furthering her killer's profit." 3 weeks later, Dr. Reichard was arrested at his country club. Thomas Crenshaw was pulled from his insurance office in handcuffs. 7 other doctors across 3 states were implicated in the terminal profit protocol. The insurance company, facing massive lawsuits, offered us a settlement, $3 million. $3 million, Helena said, sliding the papers across her desk, for Rosemary's stolen time. "It won't bring her back," Kaylin said. "No, but it ensures her actual wish, your security, is fulfilled." We took the settlement. Kaylin and Draven bought a small house in Milwaukee, close enough for Sunday dinners, but far enough for independence. Draven joined GA, got a real job at a music store, began rebuilding. But the real moment came 6 months later at Rosemary's grave. We'd had her headstone updated. "Rosemary Ann Thorne, beloved wife and mother, murdered by those who should have healed. Her love survives every betrayal." "We know the truth now, Mom," Kaylin said, placing fresh roses. "You didn't choose to leave us. You were taken. And we nearly destroyed each other over a lie," I added. Draven stepped forward, placed his 6-month sobriety chip on the grave. "I'm clean, Rosie. Actually clean. Not for your money or your wish, but because your family deserves better." Sometimes the truth is worse than the lie, but it's still the truth. If you're still watching, please share the story. Someone needs to know that even the darkest revelations can lead to light. The letter arrived on the 2nd anniversary of Rosemary's death. It was in her handwriting, postmarked the day before she died. If you're reading this, something went wrong. Dr. Reichard promised me I had 6 more months, but I can feel the truth in my bones. I'm dying faster than planned. By the time you get this, the insurance will have paid out, but I need you to know, I think I've been murdered. The letter had been lost in the postal system for 2 years, finally delivered after a sorting facility update. I opened it with shaking hands while Kaylin and Draven watched. "My dearest family, I'm writing this from my hospital bed while Dr. Reichard is at lunch. Something's wrong. The treatment he's giving me doesn't match what I've researched. When I question him, he says I'm paranoid from the pain medication, but I'm not paranoid. I heard him on the phone yesterday saying she'll be gone within the week. The payout is confirmed at $200K. I'm scared. I'm dying, but I think I'm being helped along.
If something happens faster than expected, investigate, please. I love you all. I wanted more time, not more money. Remember that. Forever, Rosie. Kaylin sobbed. She knew and couldn't stop it. We need to give this to the FBI, Draven said. The letter became key evidence in the trial against Dr. Reichard. He was convicted of 17 counts of murder, sentenced to life without parole. During his allocution, he showed no remorse. Terminal patients are dying anyway, he said. I just optimized the timeline for maximum financial benefit. You stole years from families, the judge responded. You turned medicine into murder. The settlement money sat untouched in an account. None of us could bear to spend it. It felt like grave robbery, even though Rosemary would have wanted us secure. Finally, Kaylin had an idea. Let's start a foundation, the Rosemary Thorne Fund for Patient Advocacy. Help families identify medical fraud, get second opinions, protect the vulnerable. Within a year, the foundation had helped expose 3 other doctors running similar schemes. We hired investigators, provided free legal consultation, created a network of ethical oncologists for second opinions. Draven became our most passionate advocate. His gambling addiction, ironically, had taught him to recognize manipulation and desperation. Dying people will believe anything that gives them hope. Doctors who exploit that hope are worse than any casino. One evening, as we worked late at the foundation office, Kaylin asked me something that had been haunting her. Dad, do you think Mom would have lived longer without Reichard's help? The real doctors we consulted said probably 2 years, maybe 3 with aggressive treatment. 3 years. She touched her stomach gently. She would have met her grandchild. I hadn't known Kaylin was pregnant. 4 months. Draven and I wanted to be sure things were stable before telling anyone. Kaylin, that's wonderful. We're naming him Brennick Thorne Wolfe, after the grandfather who never gave up on us, even when we gave up on ourselves. 8 months after the letter arrived, little Brennick entered the world. As I held my grandson for the first time, I thought about Rosemary, not how she died, but how she lived. The garden she tended, the songs she sang, the way she laughed at my terrible jokes. Your grandmother would have loved you, I whispered to baby Brennick. She would have sung you lullabies and taught you to make pie crust from scratch. She did love him, Kaylin said from her hospital bed. Every sacrifice she thought she was making, every moment she thought she was choosing our future over her present, she loved him. And her love survived even the worst corruption of it. It brought us here to truth and healing. The foundation grew. We opened offices in Chicago, Denver, and Seattle. We helped hundreds of families identify and escape predatory medical practices. But the real victory was smaller, quieter. Sunday dinners at my Milwaukee house. Kaylin teaching little Brennick to play piano on the same keys his grandmother once touched. Draven helping me build a greenhouse where Rosemary had always wanted one. We're not the family she imagined, Kaylin said one evening, watching her son play in the yard where she'd once played. No, I agreed. We're the family that survived her loss, survived the lies about her loss, and came out stronger. Do you forgive her for hiding the diagnosis initially? She was being manipulated by a murderer. There's nothing to forgive. Do you forgive yourself for not seeing it? I thought about that for a long moment. I'm learning to. Every day, I'm learning to. If you've journeyed with us through this darkness into light, please subscribe and share.
Someone needs to know that even the most poisoned ground can grow something beautiful again.
7 years after Adelaine's death, I stood in a Milwaukee courthouse again. But this time, I wasn't there as a plaintiff or defendant. I was there as a witness, watching Tessa Lynn graduate from law school, watching Kellen receive his addiction counselor certification, and holding my grandson's hand as he told the judge, "My family was broken by lies, but we built something better with truth." The same courthouse where we'd learned about Adelaine's murder now hosted the Wisconsin Bar Association's swearing-in ceremony. Tessa Lynn stood with 200 other new lawyers, right hand raised, taking an oath to pursue justice. In the audience, 5-year-old Atlas sat on Kellen's lap, wearing a tiny suit that said, "My mommy's a lawyer," on the back. I sat beside them, holding the camera Adeline had bought for all the important moments we'll want to remember. After the ceremony, we gathered in the marble hallway where everything had fallen apart 7 years ago. "Why law school?" a reporter asked Tessa Lynn. She had become somewhat famous, the woman whose mother was murdered by her doctor, whose husband gambled away the blood money, whose father sued to save them all. "Because I learned that justice doesn't happen automatically. Someone has to fight for it. My dad fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. Now, I fight for others." "And you?" the reporter turned to Kellen. "Addiction counselor?" 8 years sober, Kellen said proudly. "I learned addiction isn't about weakness. It's about pain. I help people find what they're really gambling on, what they're really trying to escape." That evening we held the celebration at my Milwaukee house, the same one where Adeline had hidden for diagnosis, where Kellen had confessed the gambling, where I'd made the decision to sue my own daughter. The backyard was full of people the foundation had helped. Marissa Chen, whose husband's doctor had tried the same terminal profit protocol. Robert Hayes, whose mother had been saved by a second opinion we'd funded. Dozens of families who'd found justice through the work born from our injustice. "Speech!" someone called out. I stood, raised my beer, local Milwaukee brew, nothing fancy. 7 years ago, my wife died. We thought she chose to die faster for insurance money. Then we learned she was murdered. In between those discoveries, we nearly destroyed each other fighting over her legacy." Murmurs from those who didn't know the full story. "My daughter threatened to have me arrested. Her husband gambled everything away. I sued them both. We hid from Vegas criminals in Montana mountains. We lost the house my wife's death was supposed to secure. But we gained something else. Truth. And from truth, purpose." I looked at Tessa Lynn, successful lawyer, at Kellen, dedicated counselor, at little Atlas drawing pictures of his grandmother he'd never meet but somehow knew. "To Adeline!" everyone toasted. "To Addie," I whispered. Later, as the party wound down, I found myself alone in the kitchen where Adeline had made thousands of meals. Tessa Lynn joined me. "Dad, I have something to tell you." "Another baby?" "No." She smiled. "The district attorney's office offered me a position, prosecuting medical fraud. They want me to head a new unit inspired by Mom's case." "That's wonderful." "It means long hours, difficult cases, but Kellen supports it, says it's what Mom would have wanted, me using my pain to prevent others' suffering. Your mother would be so proud." "Of all of us," Tessa Lynn corrected, "even our mistakes, maybe especially our mistakes." Little Atlas ran in holding a picture he'd drawn. It showed 5 figures: him, his parents, me, and a woman with wings. "That's Grandma Addie. She's watching us from heaven." I asked, "How do you know she's watching?" "Because you always look up when you talk about her, so she must be up there." Children's logic.
pure and perfect. That night, after everyone had gone home, I sat in my backyard under the Wisconsin stars. The greenhouse Kellen had helped me build glowed softly with grow lights. Inside, tomatoes climbed toward the ceiling, Adelaine's variety, grown from seeds she had saved. My phone buzzed, a text from Tessalin. "Thank you for never giving up on us, even when we gave up on ourselves, even when we gave up on you." I typed back, "That's what love does. It holds on even when holding on seems impossible." Another text, this one from Kellen. 8 years sober today. Couldn't have done it without you believing I could change." The stars wheeled overhead. Same stars Adeline and I used to watch from this yard, planning our future, dreaming of grandchildren and golden years. We'd gotten neither. Instead, we'd gotten murder and gambling and lawsuits between father and daughter. We'd gotten rock bottom and slow climbing. We'd gotten truth that hurt worse than lies. But we'd also gotten redemption, justice, purpose, family forged in fire but stronger for the forging. I raised my beer to the stars. "We made it, Addie. Not the way you planned, not the way any of us planned, but we made it." Wind chimes Tessalin had hung last week played a soft melody. For a moment, just a moment, I could swear I heard Adeline's voice in them. "I know, my love. I always knew you would." 5 years later, the Adeline Karstead Foundation had offices in 12 cities. Tessalin had successfully prosecuted 43 cases of medical fraud. Kellen had helped over 300 addicts find recovery. Little Atlas had started writing songs about his grandmother, somehow capturing a spirit he'd never met, but deeply knew. And me? I'd learned that love isn't about saving people from their choices. It's about loving them through the consequences, standing firm when they fall, and celebrating when they rise. The house on Magnolia Bend in Nashville was gone, sold to strangers who'd never know its history. But home, real home, was Sunday dinners in Milwaukee, was Tessalin's law office decorated with her mother's photos, was Kellen's GA meetings where he sponsored others, was Atlas's laughter echoing through rooms that had once held only grief. Home was the family we had rebuilt from ashes, stronger and truer than what we'd lost. Home was the knowledge that Adeline's death, terrible as it was, had become the foundation for hundreds of saved lives through our foundation. Home was the truth that love, real love, survives everything, even murder, even gambling, even lawsuits between fathers and daughters. Home was here, now, us, together. This story ends where it began, with a father's love that refused to let go, even when letting go seemed like the only option. If you followed our journey from that first terrible phone call to this moment of redemption, please subscribe and share. Someone tonight is standing where we stood 7 years ago, broken, betrayed, wondering if healing is possible. They need to know that it is, that families can survive anything if love is stronger than pain, that home isn't a house, or money, or even time. It's the choice to keep choosing each other even when that choice seems impossible. This story is dedicated to everyone who's lost someone to medical malpractice, to addiction, to the terrible mathematics of terminal illness and insurance policies, to every parent who's had to choose between enabling and tough love, to every family torn apart by money that was supposed to save them. If Ryland's story touched your heart, please don't scroll past without subscribing. Your subscription tells another family in crisis that they're not alone. Your share might reach someone standing at the edge of losing everything, needing to know that everything can be rebuilt. From Milwaukee to wherever you're watching, from our rebuilt family to yours, remember, sometimes love looks like lawsuits. Sometimes salvation looks like destruction. Sometimes the money meant to save us almost destroys us. But always, always, the choice to fight for each other is the choice that matters. Adelaine Carstead died thinking she had failed her family. But her death, terrible as it was, became the catalyst for justice, redemption, and a love stronger than any lie. Your story might be different, but your pain is valid. Your choices matter. Your family, however broken, can heal. Subscribe now. Share this story. Be the hope someone needs. Because the house built with blood and sweat might crumble, but the home built with forgiveness and truth, that's the one that lasts forever. Thank you for watching. Thank you for witnessing our journey. Thank you for believing that broken things can be beautiful.